All these things are forms of hate. Misinformation, disinformation, racism. All these things are forms of hate. Hate speech everywhere, in political speeches, family status, violence on women, cartoons, tribal wars. All these things are forms of hate. Violence on women, cartoons, tribal wars. All these things are forms of hate.
We conformo na.
We conformo. We conformo na. Mucho que bañanisti. We conformo. We conformo na. Mucho que bañanisti. We care for conformance. We care for conformance. Viva y cabezón. We care for conformance. We care for conformance. Viva y cabezón. Reach out to the world, be a volunteer, spread the news. Defyhatenow. Reach out to the world, be a volunteer, spread the news. Defyhatenow.
Defyhatenow.
Defyhatenow. Defyhatenow. Let's join hands, defyhatenow. Defyhatenow. Let's join hands, defyhatenow. 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 Let's join hands, defyhatenow. 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 Let's join hands, defyhatenow. 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 Let's join hands, defyhatenow.
Hey.
Money in Africa. In the world, get out of our mind. Karambani, we don't want you in the world. Lion, get out of our mind. Hate speech everywhere on social media and school media. Misinformation, disinformation, racism. All these things are forms of hate. Misinformation, disinformation, racism. All these things are forms of hate. Hate speech everywhere in political speeches, family status, violence on women, of hate. Violence on women, cartoons, tribal wars, all these things are forms of hate.
We conformons na.
We conformons. We conformons na. Mucho que mañanisti. We conformons. We conformons na. Mucho que mañanisti. We care for comfort. We care for comfort.
Three, two, one, counting. A very wonderful afternoon to you all, and welcome to this year's edition of the Peace Jam. Sitting right here in Berlin, I'm glad to be your host, Valerie Wiebern, and it's International Day to Counter Hate Speech. Today we're running on the theme, Online Safe Spaces for Digital Security. Before we do anything else, I want you all to turn your cameras and we can say hello to each other and see who else is joining from Ethiopia to Uganda to Cameroon, Germany, South Sudan, and all across. Good, I can see Donald from Cameroon already. Hello, Donald. Hello, Abeng Melvis. Hello, Rita Abakojam. Hello, Charlotte Kiketso. Nice to see you online. Last week we've been here together. Hello, Baye Frida Ebai, the person I've known just online for so many years now. Hopefully we get to meet in person one day. Hello, Aruna Mfeju. Nice to meet you. Hello, everyone. Pen Boy, I can see is online. Simon Tusi, Laura Nganle, our communication officer sitting all the way in Yaoundé and dressed like a knighted traditional from the northwest region of Cameroon. And I can see Yara sitting in her room in Köln. That is what is beautiful about Peace Jam. You can always just join from anywhere. And I'm delighted to have you all here. It's a full team here in the house in Berlin. It's a full team in the house in Cameroon. It's a full team in the house in South Sudan and Uganda and Kenya. And that's why we're able to get this running. We're just quickly going to play over the song again for Defyhatenow, coming all the way from Cameroon from the Whispers, and then we'll kick it running.
We don't want you in the world. Get out of our mind. Karambani, we don't want you in the world. Lion, get out of our mind. Hate speech everywhere on social media and school media. Misinformation, disinformation, racism, all these things are forms of hate. Misinformation, disinformation, racism, all these things are forms of hate. Hate speech everywhere, in political speeches, family status.
That lovely song is being echoed right from Cameroon. The name of the group is the Whispers? And I think they have been existing for so many years now, and it's so beautiful to have them do that collabo to use their fine voices in joining the counter hate speech move. everything should be geared this day just towards countering hate speech. The Defy Hate Now initiative has started since 2015, and reuniting peace builders from across the board is what we have done now since then, getting together on one day on a very, very spontaneous jam like this one, discussing ideas and celebrating our works. Before, we have done this traditionally on September 21st, which is International Peace Day, but today we opted to do it on the International Day of Countering Hate Speech. It's a United Nations Day as well. It's important to note the following things, the following house regulations before we begin. First things first, please bring out your phones and make sure that you go to your Twitter now, because we have to trend on Twitter. People gotta know that something is happening online. Bring out your phones and make your first tweet of the day on make out your first text about countering hate speech online, and use the following tags: at defyhatenow, at defyhatenow _ WCA, that's West and Central Africa, and use the following hashtags: hashtag all for all, hashtag no to hate, hashtag peace jam 2023, hashtag defy hate now, hashtag save online spaces. And please do remember to tag at defy hate now on Twitter. Then we can all communicate and interact on that space. And don't end there. Go ahead and send a text to your friends and say they should join us online. You know, we are about 50 of us online now, and we need to get to 200 at the end of the day. I can see Peace Watch NGO is joining with a full room of people. That's amazing. Hello and shout out to you guys. This is a safe space. So you are reminded to not just practice hate speech, countering hate speech after today, but you can also practice in this space. So I call on you to be mutually very respectful and tolerant when you share your opinions and everything like that. Finally, before I introduce the first act for today, let me mention quickly that we are recording this, and you can be able to join or watch later on, or have other people watch through our various social media channels. We're going to start with our first act today, and it's going to be a lucid spoken word art, because Peace Jam is everything. We bring out our art, we bring out our music, we bring out our voices, we bring out our hands, and everything we've got. So I'm going to quickly introduce the first act for today. Penboy. If Penboy is online, can you turn your camera? Let's make sure that you're here. I cannot see him. Is he there? Is Penboy online? Okay. All right. Our first act for today is going to be from Penboy. Penboy is a Cameroonian-born lawyer. His real name is Talembong Boris Alemge. He's a lawyer, and he's a spoken word artist who uses his literary skills to highlight social and political issues affecting vulnerable and marginalized communities. Hello, Penboy. How are you today? Let me hear your voice before we go to your clip. Speaking. Hello, Boris. Penboy, alias Penboy. If you can hear me, just say hello, then we know you're there. Good. I see him. But I don't hear you. Maybe you should fix something with your sound. We still don't hear you. What makes Peace Jam is also all these irregularities involved, right? It's just jamming. Oh. We still do not hear you.
Can you get me now?
We hear you now. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. Nice to see you online and nice to see you back on the Defy Head Now Peace Jam space. I've been told that you have prepared a special piece for us today. So you're going to be our opener, and please, when you're doing it, take it to the highest level of energy, because your pace you set it on determines how the rest of the day is going to go. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Is everybody getting me?
So please position yourself in front of the camera in the way that we see all of your body and your art, which is, by the way, very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Pen Boy. If you want to show appreciation to what he's doing, just put the clapping emoji on your Zoom functions, and then he knows that you're appreciating everything he's doing. Pen Boy, over to you. Let's get started.
Right. I hope everybody is doing fine today. Next one. I hope everybody is doing okay today. So I have a little poem, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be adding my voice to the hate speech campaign, to the campaign against hate speech. I'm a poet, I'm a spoken word artist engaged in activism. So I use my art to challenge sociocultural and political ills happening around us. And today, I'm particularly happy to be adding my voice to the hate speech campaign, and I'm very happy for the invitation. So thank you very much. So I'm here today in the company of my very handsome pianist, and we're doing something for you, a spoken word piece titled "Let This School." Let the school son libre. Let the school son libre, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, madame, monsieur, ne les dis pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, monsieur, ne les dis pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, madame, monsieur, ne les dis pas. We are told that words are free, but no one ever tells us how expensive it is to cure from the wounds inflicted by words that should have been left unsaid. Today, most people are everything they never wanted to be, because everything they ever wanted to be was destroyed by carelessly said words and opinions of what people wanted them to be. Hate speech has the power to ruin destinies. Et oui, les discours sont libres. Mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, mesdames et messieurs, ne les dites pas. Les discours sont libres. Mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, mesdames et messieurs, ne les dites pas. Les discours sont libres. Mais si ça va faire du mal, ne les dites pas. Ne les dites pas. The tongue has no bones. The tongue has no bones, but it is the strongest. Sometimes the fiercest part of the human body. From our communities to vast Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook streets, our tongues sing with hate. Consciously, sometimes unconsciously, carelessly unverified said words intended to divide, destroy, or sometimes kill. Speech wreaks more havoc than the well-targeted bomb. Spreads more havoc than the world-targeted bomb. Sometimes it comes camouflaging assumptions. Generational ideologies passed on from generation to generation. Et oui, madame et messieurs, les discours sont libres. Mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, ne les dites pas. Les discours sont libres. Mais si ça va faire du mal, ne les dites pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, ne laissez pas. Why do we seem to lock out of our brains every time we log into the internet? Creating negative conversations about people or where they come from or what makes they are called. We make fake news travel faster than a flashlight. We don't even think before we click, we don't think before we tweet, we don't think before we speak. Hate speech is the face behind the mask that has continued to cover more wars and atrocities. The Holocaust, the Cambodian genocide, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi people in Rwanda, the Angolan crisis. Oui, madame et monsieur, les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, ne laissez pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, monsieur, ne laissez pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, s'il vous plaît, ne laissez pas. By the sting of our tongue, men have walked around with venom of bitterness in their veins. Nations have gone to war fighting with nothing to gain. Youths have died from suicide and depression without a whip-out of pain. Hate is taking over our humanity. Pouring upon us don't stop like heavy drops of rain. Ladies and gentlemen, we are only travelers. Here today and gone tomorrow. The only thing that stays are our footprints. The memories we create and how we make people feel through the words we said. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, ne laissez pas. Les discours sont libres, mais si ça va faire du mal, ne laissez pas. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
If we were in physical presence, then I would say a special thunderous round of applause and a standing ovation for Penboy for that wonderful piece. Now that we're just online, I want you to just put on your appreciation emojis so that I show that you all love what he did. Thank you very much, Penboy. Knowing you now for so many years and seeing you grow from strength to strength in using your wonderful abilities to promote social causes like counter hate speech, like peace and social cohesion is simply laudable, and we cannot not stop appreciating it. No appreciation is enough to cover this.
Thank you very much.
The idea of online spaces, online safe spaces starts, or the idea of safe space as a whole first appeared in the year 1960 in the United States, which was supposed to be a space where people could come in, mostly people who are marginalized, come in, express their opinions, express their concerns, express themselves without having the fear of being judged or persecuted. Slowly, much more American universities adopted this idea and kept growing it out. And with the coming of digital technologies and the moving towards these new technologies, online spaces definitely also became a place of importance. And as long as we navigate online spaces, it is important for us to strive to create a safe space online, because the digital world is very brutal and there must be a conscious effect to create online safe spaces. So therefore, we're appreciative to the United Nations for choosing this theme which matches a lot with what we're doing, our work, and it'll be interesting to see what you all think about today. However, it is important to consider the following points. Online safe spaces as goal to promote privacy and personal information, to promote potentials for protecting us from misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, empowering marginalized and vulnerable communities. We are all part of this, and we can all just do our effort to keep the journey going. Now I'm going to turn to a gentleman from Kenya who is not sitting in Kenya at the moment, but sitting with me right here in the office. And that is none other than Dan Kingori. Dan is from Technology for Good. It's a Technology for Good enthusiast, and he is leading our back office here. He is directing how this anchoring and echoing is going on today. So Dan is going to briefly present to us what defyhatenow is doing in online spaces, in online safe spaces and digital security. Hello, Dan, and how are you doing today?
I'm good. I hope I'm audible enough. Yes, thank you so much, Varari, and thank you all. Thank you all for joining us today. It's such a beautiful moment, jamming for peace. And in this year, as we talk about online safe spaces, and and that's where we are, like on a day-to-day basis. That's our life at the moment. Our spaces have shifted so much to be online. We spend so much time on social media, and those of us who work remotely or online on video calls and what have you. And as defyhatenow, we have put our efforts on this, on creating digital safe spaces in various avenues, mostly about our mandate, which is countering online hate speech and incitement to violence. This has taken a number of paths, as I'm going to show us in just a minute. One of them is the learning aspect. So we call it pre-banking and debunking. So we sort of take a back step and say, how do we make people aware of information that is going to them is either manipulated, or they need to be aware of how to figure that out, just so that in their online spaces, they are much more educated. So in doing that, we have Africa Fact-Checking Fellowship happening in Cameroon, which has a huge aspect on cybersecurity and privacy as part of what the fellows learn in the 3-month fellowship, as well as defyhatenow in South Sudan has a program known as Empowering Fact Checkers in South Sudan, and the program as well has one of the main focal points being cybersecurity and data privacy. So we making sure that as we work on the multiply effect of being aware of, this information is manipulated or something of that sort, the people are conscious of their privacy, of their data, and of even the security of their presence online. This is coupled together with learning modules, online learning modules, which are available on our website, both for cybersecurity and privacy, as well as social media literacy. And on top of that, we partner with local groups, civil society organizations, and people who are interacting with their communities to make sure that as they do their outreach, the aspect of cybersecurity or digital security is at the conscious of whatever it is that they're doing. We have a couple of groups who are precisely doing outreach on cybersecurity and privacy, both in Cameroon and in South Sudan. South Sudan, there's a full-fledged project known as SafetyCom that purely focuses on cybersecurity. We have the lead of that program here, who will be part of our panelists, known as Arik. I think he is in the room, as well as the fellowship alumni. A number of them conduct outreach to their communities. They conduct workshops on digital security and data privacy. Coupled to that, we are very conscious of, since our spaces are online, we need to learn how to interact with that. And in the awareness aspect of it, we conduct a number of campaigns. So the campaigns range from like a main campaign like this one, which is Jamming for Peace, as well as targeted campaigns like, think before you click, or pen not gun in Cameroon, or even making sure that people understand that there is a possibility that the information they are consuming is manipulated. So if you have doubts, you can get it fact checked, and that we do with 237 check in Cameroon, as well as 211 check in South Sudan. So all this is connected to creating safe online spaces. We believe that the more we are aware of our interactions online, and the more we are conscious of that, the more we have a healthy engagement. And at the end of the day, we have less extremism and polarization. Very important is the defyhatenow project starting in Ethiopia, which we have a very specific aspect on safe spaces, specifically for vulnerable communities. So this one we have narrowed down to women, and we do that for the sake of countering gender disinformation. So how we do it is how we're planning to do it, because it's in the planning. It's involved everyone, especially on the grassroots level, just so that there is an avenue for strategizing, for collective action, for people discussing and saying, hey, this is how we go about these issues, and people feeling safe to air out the issues that are concerning them, either in their local communities or at personal level. And they can feel free to just seek information, which is a very key aspect. People sometimes feel as if not knowing something is a crime, which is not. And at times we end up being part of the propaganda machine unknowingly. So for this specific case, which is online safe spaces in Ethiopia, it will be very targeted to the grassroots women rights and activist groups and civil society organizations. It has a huge aspect to it, which is online. So very controlled, encrypted messaging platforms, which have clear moderation, and it's possible for someone to feel safe when they're discussing the issues over there. I would want to end it at this, since we have more discussions coming up, the panel discussion, and more presentations from the ASNet and the YSB. So I want to take it back to Valerie, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. However, before you go, maybe I ask you one question. It's important to hear this. What are some of the challenges that you encounter in this journey to protect our online spaces through the works of defyhatenow?
I think the biggest challenge that we encounter is general awareness. General awareness of how to consume information. And that's why our biggest aspect is creating a multiplier effect through the learning programs that we have, just so that that becomes like a training of trainers, and those people can as well reach out to their local communities. There seems to be a huge deficiency of like solid understanding of this information is manipulated, as well as my conscious of online security. Like, how do I know that I'm being trailed? How do I know that I can be hacked anytime if, say, for example, I'm an online influencer? So the general awareness part is a big challenge, which we're trying to address through their various avenues that I earlier mentioned. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Without much ado, I am going to fly our plane straight all the way to East Africa without a visa or a passport even, where our colleague Matthew Lubari is on standby. Matthew Lubari, if you're there, give me a sign. I want to see your face, and then I know that you're there, and your voice also. Hello, Matthew Lubari.
Hello. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
All right. Matthew Lubari will let us know what AskNet is doing in this domain of providing online security, online safe space, and digital security. Matthew Lubari, I understand that you're sitting in Uganda at the moment. Am I right?
Well, currently I'm in Juba, South Sudan.
Do we hear him? I don't hear him yet. All right.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. How is Uganda today? Are you sitting in Kampala or?
No, apparently currently I'm in South Sudan in Juba.
All right. So do you want to move on now to give us your input? What is AskNet doing as far as online safe spaces are concerned and the whole question of digital security?
Well, thank you so much. My name is Matthew Lubari and I work for Community Creativity for Development in Uganda and South Sudan. And also part of the AskNet network. AskNet in general means access to skills, knowledge, and network, and is a network of hubs and individuals led by South Sudanese. And AskNet network, it has currently 6 member hubs, 3 in South Sudan and 3 in Uganda. AskNet aims at building a sustainable network of trainers and empowered individuals to address specific challenges that their community are facing and transform cultural patterns that fuel conflict and inequality. And AskNet was initially a project which has recently turned into a network of hubs and has been legally registered in South Sudan with these member hubs that I have mentioned the number. And we do a couple of programs that ranges from media, repair cafes, event, including podcasting. And those programs are aimed at combating hate speech, because we understand that hate speech is something which is dangerous and can easily break societies. So those 3 tools, programs are the one that we use in the AskNet network in order to combat the hate speech. And one most common thing in the AskNet network is the media components, and as well a tool called Ascotech Toolkit, which stands for access to skills, knowledge, a network, emergence toolkit, which is a very vital tool, in promoting peace among communities. And we use the Ascotech kit, to fix aspects of hate speech within communities through organizing workshops such as the repair cafes, where communities are sensitized on how they can how they can counterfeit the hate speech. Yeah, and the media component and as well podcasting, where people are trained on how they can use podcasting as a tool to spread messages of no hate. And this has been so vital, where podcasting messages have been spread both online and offline. And we had encountered significant, progress while doing this, especially these repair cafes and this podcasting. And then the promotion of use of open technology, because we believe that when most people have access to information openly, they can easily get much knowledge on how they can counter or how they can differentiate information, and how they can be able to analyze information online that is so genuine. So basically, that is what AskNet has been doing, and we're so grateful that today we, as AskNet Network, been able to be invited and as well join the 2023 Peace Jam. So I'm so grateful to share with this. I'm going to share in the link to that so that you can access and get more insight into the AskNet, more about the AskNet. Thank you. The link has just dropped it in the chat.
Oh, thank you very much, Matthew. You are Mr. Talk and Do. You say you're going to do it and you do the action right away. So anyone can have access to that link to see more of what AskNet is doing. But Matthew, I will not let you go without one question. In this very important work you do, promoting media literacy, promoting digital security and online safe spaces, what is a good day for you like? What makes a good day for you at work?
What makes me good is, to see that communities smile at each other, regardless of where they come from. That is something that makes my life good. And most importantly, I always use a toolkit that I carry with me to fix hate speech within communities.
I think all of us need these toolkits, right?
True.
Thank you very much, Matthew. I'm going to, without much ado, continue with my journey without a visa, right over to Addis Ababa, where at the moment, Youth Sounding Board is sitting on standby, and there is Eden. Hello, Eden, can you hear me? If you can hear me, quickly turn on your camera and give us a good vibe for today. How are you doing today, Eden?
Hi, Valerie. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Behold, I can hear you.
Great. I'm doing very well. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing very well. Actually, in Berlin, it is the beginning of summer. So for anyone who is born between latitude 0 degrees and latitude 23 degrees, you can know what that means. That's a lot of sunshine. So all of us are really doing well here today.
Great. I'm also in Berlin, actually.
Okay. I thought you were still in Addis. Nice to know that you're in
I'm
Berlin.
based in Addis.
Do
Yeah.
come around for a coffee.
Okay, yeah, will do. Thanks.
Do you want to tell us a bit about Youth Sounding Board and what you're doing as far as online safe spaces are concerned, digital security and questions like this?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah, as you mentioned, my name is Eden. I'm an entrepreneur, human rights activist, and cybersecurity graduate, originally from Ethiopia, but currently in Germany. As a member of the EU Youth Sounding Board in Ethiopia, which is also a co-partner of this event, I'm thrilled to be here with all of you today to discuss the crucial topic of online safe spaces for digital security. Growing up, I always knew that I wanted to explore the nexus between technology and social justice, and that's why I studied cybersecurity at university because I've always had the dream that one day I will lead the cybercrime unit at Interpol headquarters in Lyon, fighting unsafe and uncharted corners of the internet where young people, especially women, are manipulated, abused, or exploited. As a firm believer in internet freedom, I'm also strongly defending digital ethics. So fairness, inclusivity, and non-discrimination are essential components of digital citizenship, and we all have a responsibility to uphold them. Now, let me share a bit about the Youth Sounding Board, or more commonly known as YSB. So the European delegation to Ethiopia recognizes the importance of amplifying the voices of young people in the country, and in June 2022 established the Youth Sounding Board, and the board consists of 25 members representing different regions of Ethiopia. As a member of the board, I am proud to be part of the platform that empowers young people to speak up about issues that matter most to us. Through the Youth Sounding Board, we provide input and recommendations on policies and initiatives that affect young people in Ethiopia. It's a powerful way to ensure that our voices are heard and that our needs are taken into account when decisions are made. As young people, we have unique perspectives and experiences that can contribute positively to our communities. So the objectives of the Youth Sounding Board are threefold. Firstly, the EU delegation aims to provide a platform for young people to contribute to the formulation of EU programming in the country, thereby creating an opportunity for their active involvement. Secondly, the delegation believes in incorporating youth perspective into the work to respond effectively to the key challenges that are faced by Ethiopian youth. And lastly, the European delegation to Ethiopia aims to create a sustainable platform for continuous dialogue between the EU and young people, including organizations and networks, to ensure the relevance and usefulness of EU programming. The establishment of these objectives reflects the EU's commitment to youth empowerment and development in Ethiopia, which is a step in the right direction for the country's overall progress. So the YSB in Ethiopia has a crucial role in creating online safe spaces in Ethiopia for the young population. In the digital age, where almost all aspects of life have turned virtual, creating a safe space is something that's become more important now than ever. And access to the internet is increasing in Ethiopia. And with that comes the need to ensure that it's a safe space for the young population. And the YSB can take several measures to foster online safe environments for the country's population. Firstly, conducting research and surveys to identify the most pressing online safety issues facing young people in Ethiopia, partnering with tech companies and social media giants to promote responsible use of their platforms, and to also ensure that their safety features are working effectively. Organizing workshops and training sessions for young people on how to stay safe online, like some of the best practices, partnering with local NGOs to create awareness campaigns about online safety to help young people identify potential risks and provide them with reporting tools, creating digital literacy programs to educate young people about online safety and digital citizenships, using social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook to promote positive messaging and create virtual events such as this one, which promotes online safety and inclusiveness. Working together with civil society organizations and government stakeholders to advocate for policies that protect the rights and well-being of young people in the digital age, monitoring and evaluating the impact of our initiatives as we go on, and adjusting the approach as needed to ensure that we're making a meaningful difference in the lives of young people in Ethiopia. And lastly, developing mentorship programs for young people to learn from online role models and develop healthy habits as we navigate in a technology-driven era. So I hope this has provided a window into the inner workings of the Youth Sounding Board and the significance of creating online safe spaces in the digital era that we live in. To stay updated on our initiatives and programs, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at YSB Ethiopia, and I'll also be posting links in the chat. Thank you so much, and I look forward to an engaging and insightful conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eden Tadesse. One last question for you. Very, very impressive what the Youth Sounding Board in Ethiopia is doing. But what are the challenges? What challenges does the Youth Sounding Board face in this digital space work? Because I understand Ethiopia and digital security is a little bit difficult these days.
Absolutely. And there was a report that recently came out that said that the number of the misinformation and disinformation is getting much worse in the country. As I've already mentioned, the internet is becoming more and more prevalent, but I think some of the challenges that we as a Youth Sounding Board will have is countering misinformation in the digital era, especially in a country that censors, internet. It's quite hard to put out that relevant information to the young people on how they can stay safe online. But I think as a youth advisory group, we have quite a strong network and quite a strong presence in Ethiopia. So we'll be able to push that positive messaging forward, as I said, and be able to, counter disinformation in more practical and actionable ways.
All right. Thank you very much, Eden. I'm going to take leave of you now, from the Ethiopian in Berlin to the Ethiopian in Ethiopia. We're going to have a spoken word piece now from Akush. Akush is supposed to be her nickname, but her real name is Akile Gezahen. Akile Gezahen is an environmental engineer student with a passion for creativity. Hello, Akush. If you're listening to us, can I say hello to you and hear your response? Akush, are you there? Okay. No response from Akush yet. By the count of 5, if she's not there, then we would come back to her again. Okay. All right. While Akush is preparing to cue in, she has a little bit of connection problems and she's notifying. Let me take this minute again to celebrate the work that peace workers are doing across the world in building community resilience, in building a support system for each other, and protecting ourselves as citizens against difficult governments, against difficult peace processes, and in times of terrorism, disinformation, and everything you can count. In doing that, I'm going to call on our technical team here seated to spontaneously again put that slideshow to run through while to the end, and then by then I think Akush would be ready.
Hey, hey, funim gona. Hey, oh hey, do fa win muna. Hey, money.
Once more, hello, Akush, are you there? Hello, Akile Gezahen. If you're there, give me one last sign. Okay, Akile really has difficulties joining. We would go on with the panel discussion, and would hope that by the time we are done, she would be able to present to us. Since we don't want to lose much time, let's keep using it to take the Peace Jam story on. A very quick hello to Stephen Kovacs. I can see him texting on the chat. I think he's joining on somewhere along the road, driving somewhere, but it's good that he's still making the effort to join. That's delightful. Hello, Carol. Carol, I can see your text, and all of you who are texting, and happy to be joining today. Hope you're enjoying the Peace Jam this year as usual. Our panel today would focus on one key point: online spaces and digital security. How can online spaces contribute, online safe spaces contribute to digital security? Our participants have been carefully drawn for you from the different works of life that have to do with advocacy, creating online spaces, dissemination of information, building peace, and all of that, so that they would bring a multidimensional perspective into the discourse for us. I would quickly call all our panelists. When I call you, please give me a sign so that I know that you are there. Barrister Balbin Manga. Barrister Balbin Manga, if you're there, can you give a sign?
Hello, everyone. I'm here. Hello.
Good. Nice to know that Balbin Manga is there. Balbin is a lawyer by profession. She's an IT expert on cyber criminality, cyber legislation, and internet governance. She is based and does her practice in Cameroon. You're welcome, Balbin, and I'm happy to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Meron Antene. If you're there, please give me a sign. Good afternoon, Meron.
Hi. Hi.
Good.
How are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. It's visible that I'm fine, I guess. Peace Jam days are good days. Meron is a gender advocate and communication specialist with a passion for promoting internet and digital platforms and how these can be used as a tool for youth advocacy. She is born in Ethiopia. Hope you're having a good day today, Meron.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly introduce Arik Ajak Robert. Robert Arik Ajak. He is online already. Can you give me a sign, Robert? Hello, Robert. Are you there? Robert seems not to be online. I can't hear from him, but let me go ahead to introduce our own very Charlotte Kiketso. Charlotte Kiketso is a lady with several hearts on her and several dimensions of competence. She's a psychologist and a spoken word artist, a mental health advocate committed to educate and promote peace through trauma care systems for refugee communities and sexual minorities. Charlotte, if you're there and sitting in Uganda, you can say a quick hello. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. I'm amazing.
Thank you very much. It's nice to know that you're there and doing well. Let's turn again. Is Robert around this time? Arik.
Charlotte.
Okay, still complicated. Man creates technology, but technology cannot be. We create technology, but we don't have control over how sometimes it can treat us in these questions. But that's the beauty of the Peace Jam. Sometimes anything happens, but we have to keep jamming. We have to keep the energy. Let's start from the beginning already, and without much ado. I'm going to start with Balbin. Balbin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. So for some clarity, and from the point of a legal expert on cybersecurity questions, what is digital security? What does it entail?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for all that have been done already. So as a lawyer, talking about security is all the tools, all the legal framework that have been put on to have a safe space for those who are going online. So first of all, I'll be apologizing for my English. It's not very perfect, so I'll be trying. I hope everybody understand me. So it is like government putting on a framework, all those technical tools they put online to make the people who are going online be safety and free to inform, post, or having information. So it is the framework, it is those technical tools and all these action taken by society, civil society to sensibilize people and to let them know that this is the tools that you can use to protect yourself, the legal framework that is on that you can use if you have some problems online. So I'll be stopping there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I am having indications that Arik is now online. Hello, Arik, are you there? Arik Robert. Challenger. Arik. Okay, seems he still did not get it. But let's give the microphone to Meron. Meron, the digital space is not secure. Is this true? Is the internet safe? Is the internet digital space safe?
I would likely would say that it has its own safety attributes, but at the same time, if people use it in not a safe way, then it's definitely unsafe. So regarding on who's the back person utilizing those resources and those digital platforms, then it would determine the final output of saying if it's safe or if it's not safe. But yeah, I think just to put in short, I would say that. But for the better, we can also use it for amplifying voices and building resilience. But likewise, at the same time, we can definitely misuse it as well.
All right. Charlotte, you're listening to all those two women speak about digital security and online safety. How does this resonate with you as a psychologist and someone who considers the importance of an online safe space in relations to mental health? How does all what they're saying resonate with you?
Thank you for that question, Valerie. It resonates with me from a point of creating a space where people feel like themselves, they feel human enough. And if we're bringing in the aspect of mental health, it's as we're having this conversation, we're speaking about safety. And for a long while, safety has been a place where people get to thrive, people get to exist in being themselves, people get to prosper as far as not only mentally, but physically and financially too in their journey. So when we speak about unsafe spaces online, we're simply saying that there are no spaces for us to be seen, to be heard in our authenticity, or to be given a chance to develop as the people that would want to develop in our different aspects of life. Now, if those spaces are not safe enough for us, and yet we call them connecting spaces, we call them spaces of social support, we call them spaces of society or community, if those spaces are not safe enough, then what does it mean for the human race? What does it mean for aspects of growth, not just physically, but financially too? And as today, the topic of peace now also comes in. The more we are not safe online, definitely the more we are not safe offline. So there's a lack of peace online, so definitely there's a lack of peace offline. And if that connection is not created, if the online spaces that have created the aspect of what we now call a global village are not safe enough for people to indulge in their different natures, then what does that mean for the human race? What does that mean for conversations of peace? So yes, so the more safer online spaces, which are now social support spaces, the more safer our society is, even from the physical offline angle of it.
Thank you, Charlotte. Listening to you, it's always very inspirational, especially on topics like this and relating it to our human race. Is Robert there now? Okay, still not. He's really struggling to join. I think it's really challenging for him. Between 1999 and today, it is very clear that the digital platform, the online space has gained so much relevance in our lives as young people, in the lives of our fragile democracies and political systems across the world. And as many young people are drawn to use the digital space as a space for advocacy, for sharing information and everything, it is not just us who have picked this particular attention to the digital space. It is also the bad people, if I would put it that way. It is also the repressive governments who have come to track details of people and to hunt them and all of that. I think in the last 5 years, we can say that digital policing has increased so much across African countries, with digital shutdowns noticed or experienced in Cameroon, in Chad, in Ethiopia recently, in Sudan, and everywhere across. So the question I would like to put across to all of you, which is going to be the center of our discourse also, would be, how do we assure a safe space in this digital environment? How do we assure a safe space in this digital environment? I would like to give the microphone again to Meryl.
Okay, thank you for that question. So in my opinion, I've been hosting also different workshops, and from what I'm seeing, I feel like it takes one person to actually acknowledge the resource that they have on hand and try to utilize it in the safe way. But besides that, it also takes the community and the environment that they're in to have the reach within the best information that they have. Like online safe spaces may not reach all individuals, particularly those with lack internet access. But once they have, this limited reach can hinder the impact and effectiveness of these spaces in promoting digital security. So I would say, if we have a great amount of trust and limited security risks, then it would definitely assure a safe space in this digital center that we're in.
Charlotte, listening to her, I always like to stress on your psychologist's specialty, because it's something very special. It's not very common in our part of the world. Listening to all what she's saying, do you have any special tips on how to make the digital space more safe that you want to add? Before you pick the microphone, Charlotte, let me quickly say that you can go into the chat box and put your questions, comments, and reactions, and we would have time to look at that at the end of the discussion. Meanwhile, spontaneously, we are considering bringing in Baye Frida as a quick replacement for Robert, because he has so many challenges in joining. So Baye Frida, put on your microphone and be ready to join. Charlotte, over to you.
Listening to the previous speaker, there's many aspects of just the fact that we can create safe online spaces offline. Like she said, there are those who don't have internet access because of different reasons. Maybe infrastructure has not been set right for them to access the internet, or there are policies or systems in place that are making internet access such a challenge. Now, when we talk about, there's something I love that is in the Defy Hate Now field guide for anyone who has got access to it. And it's what we talk about when we talk about the pyramid of hate, where hate starts and what hate becomes or what hate trickles into. And you will notice normally in the pyramid of hate, the aspect in each part of what develops in that pyramid of hate is there's the humanistic nature to it. A human being is contributing to something, becoming something. So if in our different workspaces, especially as peace ambassadors, as in the work we are doing, it may not directly have peace written on it, but the fact that you're creating a space that is inclusive, that is reasonable, that is understanding. Remember, you are addressing, we're not just addressing peace because of wars caused by a civil case, but we're talking about peace from a point of even people living peacefully within who they are, within their communities, within their colors, because race is also a conversation that has recently brought us to conversations of peace. So how can we continue to amplify the humanistic part of it all? And it's simply going to what we call addressing human beings from their humanistic nature. So in our programs, do we have programs that allow people express their biases? Do we have programs that allow people express their prejudice, so that while you're preaching peace and insisting on clarity in what peace looks like, are you allowing a person to know that there might be very specific reasons that keep them from contributing to the process of peace? Some of us are maybe held back by statements and sentiments that have been said by generations before or in news. And when we talk about peace, I love that we're talking about how do we create digital spaces, safe digital spaces. So how there's the connection of safe digital spaces can only happen if we allow human beings know that they have a humanistic contribution to the process of peace. So if I know that I can highlight my biases, highlight my prejudices, so that by the time I'm going online and I see something that might be contributing to that prejudice and stereotype, I'm not very quickly going to share it, but going to be cautious and aware enough in myself to first clarify, think before you click, and then justify and try and change the narrative, because then that means I am contributing to peace. So with everything said, as long as offline we are highlighting the humanistic part of where hate comes from, of where war comes from, of where the lack of peace comes from, then we are slowly building towards what can happen safely online. I hope I've answered the question well.
Every answer is correct in this question. You always filled with ideas and smart thoughts, Charlotte. I'm watching the chat inbox and everyone is just saying how elucidate your input is. Baye Frida, you're welcome. Please put on your camera.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you again online. I've been used to seeing you online for the last 4 years. I've never met you in person, but I know you're online. What is the discussion in Cameroon? How is the temperature on this question? Online safe spaces, digital security.
For the past 2 years, Defy Hate Now West Africa has focused, especially with civil society organizations who work at grassroots level, on engineering safe spaces for all persons, even people with disability, who use online platforms for their businesses to promote different content and to make sure that there's security, even at personal levels. So it is important for us to talk about digital spaces, safe spaces. When we talk about safe spaces, what comes to your mind? I'm used to working at the grassroots level, DBV case management. When you talk of safe, it's a space where people come for protection, empowerment, and the next step to the future. So when you go online and there's so much hate, there's so much negativism, and there's so much negative energy, it is important to train people, to train communities, to train individuals, to build their resilience. Because if you don't build resilience, there'll be a lot of fallback. And this fallback will go in such a way that hate speech will spew from one place to another, inciting people to violence. We're at a stage where countering violent extremism is very important. So it is important for us to build safe spaces, digital safe spaces. We have WhatsApp groups, we have other platforms where people come in on conversations on nation building and making sure that everybody is safe online. We have to look at community guidelines. If I go on LinkedIn, I feel safe. If I go on Facebook, my level of security is like 30% because people have not been trained. I call it social media 101. People have not been trained to build up content that will promote growth instead of promoting hate speech online. So it is very important for community leaders, for social media platforms, for WhatsApp group administrators to make sure that everybody is safe at all points. It is also important for the environment to encourage people to put in content online that will not threaten or create fear. Hold platforms accountable for hate speech. Make sure that there's awareness of this problem at all levels. Start from your council, then you go to the regional and to the national level. Make sure that you notify organizations that, like Defy that are working on hate speech, that these are things online that are promoting hate. By the time we learn how to report such pages, such bloggers, we are going to reduce hate speech online, and we're going to make people feel more comfortable to come online and promote positive content, positive information that will boost morale, that will make people want to grow and want to communicate, promote social cohesion. You know, social media literacy is very important, and that is what Defy Hate has been doing. Because digital rights and access to information is one aspect that promotes growth in an economy. Presently, I'm working with people with disability on social media strategies for their businesses, and most of them are scared to go online. First, they are with disabilities and they are being stigmatized. So we are moving from one phase to another, where we first of all have to build their self-confidence. Then we teach them on how to use social media in a very positive way that will boost their businesses, boost their communities, and make the nation a better place. When we talk of online safety, we see a lot of people put their information, their ID card numbers, their names, their phone numbers on Facebook. If you don't put that information out there, criminals will not use it. So it is very important for us, right from the primary school levels to secondary school levels, to start teaching young children on how to use social media responsibly and how to see these signs. Because we have young children as young as 14 who have cell phones without any community guidelines, without people, without parents monitoring them. They go to the dark web, and which in turn create a lot of social media buzz that at that moment they see likes and they're happy. But in 2-3 years' time, they'll see that their careers or their education will come to an end. And let me come to the lead of mental health and psychosocial support. You see a lot of young people go into drugs, alcohol. It's all because of this shame they feel online, and they think that is the only possible means to eradicate the feeling they are feeling at that moment. So it is very important for us to freely express ourselves online without fear from being bullied, from being hate upon, and to know that it is important to hold each other's hand online, because collectively we can create safe spaces online for everybody. Thank you, Vivian.
Oh, thank you very much, Frida. I'm not cutting you, but we're coming back to you. Balbin, if you're there, while Frida was talking, I remember that you two are in the same country. And we know that Cameroon is not a digital heaven, right? So I wanted to ask you in a particular way, are there any legal instruments that can help us hold platform providers or protect ourselves against digital crime, cybercrime, and attacks and things like that? What legal instruments exist in the context of Cameroon, I guess, or internationally?
Yeah, thank you, Viban. We have a legal framework since 2010. So I have been working on this, and I have put on a book where you have all these laws. It is in English and in French. And as the technology is going on, we are ready now to look again and modify some of these these laws. So we have a framework, and Cameroon is trying to adopt the Malabo Convention on cyber security and data protection. This is on the way, as you know, usually know, and we have some laws that protect children. We have a chart on in the assembly now. We have to have it. We need to have a chart. We are going to have a chart on child protection, and Cameroon is also going to ratify the European Convention, known as Budapest Convention. And this convention can help us to have cooperation when we have a problem in Cameroon, because it is not easy. With this platform, it is not easy to enforce them. To maybe if you want to have if you have your like they sent your pictures online on Facebook and you want them to be removed, it is a long process. So Cameroon have to ratify some convention to have this cooperation with this European and United country to have this judicial help when there is a problem. So we have the framework, as you know, the framework is there, but to enforce this platform is not easy. So what we can do is just continue to work as you are working, to let people have a digital culture, to know that as the one who was speaking before me, because people are putting their data online, and that the main problem. When you have already put your data online, you became a target for cyber criminals. So the work we have to do, waiting that the laws or the framework take on, it is to sensibilize people on their right online, on their way to use social media. And I myself, I have been working with children in the schools to let them know that hate speech or fake news, these are things that cannot help us to be safe online, even offline. You know that when you meet somebody, you have some attitude. Why not have the same attitude online? This respect, this ethics, this tolerance. So we are talking of think before click, but I can say also that it is before people are putting contents online, you have to think before putting them, because it is already when the content is there that people start clicking or making observation on this. So we have the framework. This is on the paper, this is in the justice, everybody knows it, but it is good to have this culture that before going to the court, before going online, I have to think before I click. Is it this information I have? It is important to transfer it. What did they have as important to me to spare it? So the framework is there, but people have to be careful, and we are working with this. And thanks to having me here, because my small work is going to be known because I was working in the community, in the African community, people in my country were not knowing me. So I'm very grateful to Defy High because it is maybe the third time or the second one that I take my time to discuss with you and learn from you and share what I have to do. We have a work with the deputy, the young Cameroonian deputy. So we have to work with them on the safety online, and we have some goodies like this where we have some messages like things from Cameroon. Be careful, not be the one who them online. So we are working as we can, and thankful again to having me here.
Yes, thank you, Balbin, and I'm very, very inspired by the things you share and your action in the community. But we are not yet taking reactions from the audience, but there is an important question in the audience that I really cannot keep taking.
Okay.
It's asking, can you share your perspectives regarding gender dynamics, regarding social media safety in your workspaces? I'm going to give two people a chance to briefly comment about that. That is going to be Meron, because this is her area of work, and it's going to be Baye Frida, these two people. Okay. Let's start with Meron. The question of gender dynamics, gender mainstreaming in social media safety in Ethiopia and in Cameroon.
Definitely. Thank you for that question. So I would like to say in regards to gender dynamics for that topic is that I've seen different type of maltreatments for both genders, definitely. But from my perspective, I feel like I have seen more of women discrimination online, most because especially there are a lot of influencers or creative creators, different areas that wants to share like their perspective on the digital world. But on these platforms, I've seen that people are more easily tend to comment and discriminate videos made by young women regarding speaking about different areas that are important. For example, if a woman speaks about rape, then people are easily to say that, oh, that's taboo, stop speaking about that online. Or you know, they try to like shut their try to stop the conversation before even it leads to creating that awareness that was intended when creating that video. So if I put in towards a men's video and then a woman's video in regards to speaking about this high issues in regards that brings this very sensitive topics, I would say that people are very quick to comment and discriminate women's view regarding this type of situations. But besides that, there's also still a growing area of impact and a growing area of support system that we're also trying to build. So one thing that we're trying to do while hosting different workshops and trainings in Addis Ababa is that we try to gather most people who are in the leadership area, both young men and young women as well. And we try to keep the conversation going in regards to not just having our insights, but trying to gather their inputs as well. So this works from different community areas, universities, and high schools as well. And we try to give them education and empowerment, and also keeping them aware about the current topics on the digital media. And once they're also equipped to have that information, we give them that area of and the space, the area and the space to actually talk about these conversations towards a bigger environment, so that they can lead on the path of sending that positive form of formation for digital literacy. So that's one thing, but I'm sure there are a lot of areas that people focus on these things. But I say that it's being a bit more positive than it has been in the past years.
Vivian, I didn't get you, but I guess you
okay.
expect.
I'm here. Robert, I'm going to come to you. Just be a little bit patient.
If Robert is on, please let me give him a chance to talk, please.
Robert is going to talk, but I just wanted to hear briefly the question, because you're a gender advocate yourself. You work on women issues and digital security. How this dynamics play in your own work? Very briefly before I turn to Robert.
Okay, there are certain sites that women tend to use than men. You have Instagram, you have Pinterest that they can advertise their businesses. Women, if you go on LinkedIn, if you talk about GBV, more women will respond to your post than men. So women go towards articles or posts that will empower them, something that they can learn protection from and change their lives positively, compared to men reading more articles on gender equality, gender-based violence, and economic empowerment articles online.
Thank you very much. Robert, you're welcome. It's been a rough ride for you. And we were enthusiastic to hear from you, and we're sorry that it's been so challenging from you, but you are a tech nerd, I would say. You are an ethical hacker. You specialize in vulnerability assessment. You are a cybersecurity trainer, and you do all these things around providing a digital secure space. And you're coming into the discussion at the middle of the discussion, so I'm not going to give you the easy questions. I will just start right from there. We have talked, Balbin has elaborated on the legal frameworks available to help hold platform providers to account, what legal platform protect people on the online safe space. And it's been enumerated clearly in this discourse that one of the things that affects the consumption of digital space is fear. What are some of the technical tools that you would propose to us? Because you are also an ethical hacker. The word hacker is already something to fear. I don't know, but it gets better when they add ethical in front. But what technological instruments exist to protect people on the digital space and to help them overcome fear?
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for coming in late. Like you said, it has been a very rough road coming back with the internet. So the tools that maybe I would recommend, it depends mostly with what you are intending to do with a particular tool. So, but maybe first one is communication. So communication is what we do like mostly. So communication wise, I would suggest that maybe you use Signal over WhatsApp. I prefer using Signal over WhatsApp. That's one. The other tool is that maybe if you're using social media, you make sure that you put in place all the privacy practices that are provided by the social media. For example, also enabling two-factor authentication, and even better if you can use the Google authentication app, because I have seen notification recently, especially from Facebook, that they're going to remove the number, like where you send the code through your phone number, because it has exploited, but they are saying they're removing it because of the cost that they are getting from telecom companies. So when that comes in, it will be very essential for you to be using Google authentication app. It's better security wise, and you will not be affected by the fact that maybe the one for the number is not working. So it's better like you get used to it now before you become a victim later, or maybe you lose access to your account. So and maybe if you're using any other, because mostly like I said before, it depends with the functionality of using online, but well, about it, to ask someone, or you can search online. I think there are a lot of good there's so much information there that can help you. Yeah, but communication to use tools like WhatsApp. It's good to use tools like there's a tool that helps people with I don't know how it's called. It's called Jumbo. So yeah, you can can use tools like Jumbo. Jumbo can help check the internet if maybe your email is compromised or it's found somewhere under a data breach and so on. It can also help you enable things like two-factor authentication. So, but how you use it, there's a paid version of it. There is also the free part. So the free part has limited features, but maybe when you pay for it, then you can have access to everything, and it can improve your online security. And yeah, that's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Robert. I'm going to stay with you because we lost you already for a good part of the conversation.
Oh,
the things you mentioned sound very interesting. Yeah. Using Signal instead of WhatsApp, enabling the two-factor authentication and all of that. But I mean, these are very useful. But my mind is worried about another thing. These things you mentioned perhaps need some degree of literacy to be able to do and awareness. How do we assure inclusivity? How do we make sure that, because it's needed to overcome this fear, how do we make sure that everyone is included in this online safe space creation? If there's one person who can tell us that, I guess it's you.
How we can make sure that everyone is included in this is maybe doing collaboration with the government, like maybe what we're doing here in South Sudan. So we have a partnership with one government institution, and we're creating awareness together with the team, and like the message shouldn't be passed through maybe one means. For example, if you're creating awareness messages and then you're only using social media, so it should be spread. You should use social media, use radio, use videos, so that the information reach various people, even those that do not follow you. So the best answer I can say is that you spread the information and you pass it in so many different ways so that we reach everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I begin taking the reactions from the audience, from the rest of you who are joining today, I would like to give the panelists a chance to react to each other's statement. Maybe you have a question or a follow-up on what someone said. Now is the time to say it. I want to feel that even if we are not sitting on a physical table, we can relate or connect to what each other is saying on this panel. Maybe I start with Charlotte. If you don't have anything to say, you're not compelled to say something, but maybe you want to react to something that the other your co-panelists are mentioning. Charlotte seems not to be in, so let me take. Okay, Charlotte. Is she there?
Charlotte is in. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any reaction or comments or questions to your co-panelists?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually, I have a reaction, I think, to what Eric said, but also mainly to Meron, and I think Baye, you were speaking about inclusivity. Thank you so much for doing ground to allow the conversation on women inclusivity online to be intentional. I once had someone say, everywhere we go, we're talking about women inclusivity. I'm tired of hearing this, but unfortunately, we're in a world where women are contributing to what is happening on the ground. We need to remember that when we talk about online security offline, the only way to reach the deepest, darkest of villages is through mothers, because they are there. They are constantly there one way or another because of what the world has already set as gender roles. So when you reach out to women, when you allow women the chance to have their voices amplified, heard, understood, you're actually reaching almost billions and billions of community just through 10 voices, if possible. So mine would say thank you for the work you're doing on ground. But to Robert, the question on the tools that are being used online that are like you've mentioned, Google authenticity or Google authentic. My question would be to you, how can you also add more open source tools? Because more common than not, these tools that have been created by multi-million organizations have the concept of data collection that we are still calling onto them with privacy laws, taking them to court. I think we understand the back and forth that has been going on with Meta, with TikTok and all that, and rumors that there's third-party cookies that we add to use these apps, but these third-party cookies are apparently collecting our information. And yes, I've sat down in a class of algorithm to know the importance of having our data, but that's where we are having why we are here, having the conversation on digital insecurity and having my information out there for an app to keep even when I die is a very dangerous thing to think about, I think. So what more open source technologies exist that can allow us use the internet in more authentic ways without having to worry about phone number, my IP address, an ID, all those things, but also open source that is safe, open source that is not easily hackable, open source that is not just available as long as I enter any Wi-Fi. So that's something as a question to you, Robert, and to appreciate Miron and May for the work on ground on women inclusivity. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Robert, you're not going to give an answer to that question immediately. I would like to have you react. So just save your answer first, but I want you to react or have something to, maybe you have a comment to make on or to the other panelists first before you give an answer. Please keep it very short so that we can take reactions from the audience.
Okay. I came in late, but I would react to the person that was speaking about the legal framework that is in place maybe in your country. So at the moment here where we are, we have an incomplete legal framework. It's just a provisional order. So maybe what effort did you put in there in your ends to bring this to the attention of the right people at the top so that you are where you are right now? Because maybe we're learning from each other. Maybe we could take the same approach to push ours as well so that it is comprehensive and addresses all various cyber crimes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Robert. Who cues in next? Balbin?
Yes, Vivian, yes.
Yes,
please, can you take it again for me? You know that the English of a Cameroonian is very easier for me than, if you can take the question again for me, please. The question he asked, you don't hear me? Can you take the question for me, please? Hello.
Balbin, what is expected of you is that you should comment on what your other colleagues on the panel are saying. If you have something you want more clarification on, it's your time now. Ou peut-être je peux dire en français aussi. Okay, it seems that our internet is difficult, but Ebai Frida, just do this very fast so that we can take the audience.
Okay, I was very impressed with the mental health and psychosocial support from Charlotte, and it is very important to educate the general public on what spewing hate speech online can do to an individual, a community, and to a nation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's really brief. Next time I'll give you many more times to talk. I like when people can cut their points. Meron, did you have a chance to react already?
I believe that most of the things have been mentioned already by my fellow panelists as well. Just last words I might say on my end is that rethink before typing, rethink before clicking, and rethink before even speaking, because even though we're talking about digital spaces online, like Charlotte had mentioned, we need to also think about what we say on the ground as well. So offline leads to misinformation in the online, and even talking online will also lead into misinformation on the offline. So just rethink as a whole to have a safer environment, safer space to speak to each other, and have a safer communication dialogue.
Okay. There's a comment here from I'll start with the one from Thompson, which is just coming in now. In one of the workshops we organized in commemoration to denouncing hate speech, I discovered that safe space is not only an issue of the young or youth, but also the age, since the social media is an easy medium of communication. What is or what can be done to ensure digital security among the age group? This question again, I would like to give it to Charlotte because she's a psychosocial person, and to Robert for the technical reasons of it. How do we assure security for the aged, for the old people on social media? Because sometimes they tend to be more vulnerable. When you talk of the love scams that I've seen in Europe, where young 17-year-olds scam 90, 80-year-old people here for a lot of money in the name of romance, it's always old people and things like this. How do we protect our old, our aged on social media or on the digital space?
So that's a very interesting question, especially to think about it in that perspective. And this is where we talk about creating social support systems that form a catharsis kind of system. So catharsis simply means learning from each other. Now, I think sometimes these elderly people are not aware that they're being scammed. So how do we create spaces in which they can get together, have each other's perspective on how is it that we are being scammed, and come up with solutions on being scammed together, but also make resources available. We know how to make flyers on HIV and AIDS. We know how to make and spread them around towns. We know how to make flyers on the importance of thinking before you click, of thinking before you sharing. So let's do the same. How can we make flyers that create awareness on what it looks like to be in a situation of coming, but also create a platform for these elderly people to be able to speak about it, because we cannot address what we don't know. So until we get to know it, then we'll be able to address it.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Robert, assuring security for the old, for the aged, for the elderly on digital platforms.
I think the only thing is awareness, and then you teach them all kind of threats, and really put in much effort on each type, scams, phishing, phishing threats. Also teach them secure password management. Let them use open source tools like two-factor authentication and so on. So if they have those things in the arsenal, then they'll be able to protect themselves. Yeah, and like they always say, prevention is better than cure. I think applies here as well. Yeah, putting them in a place where they'll protect themselves. Yeah, before you respond to any incident. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just want to take this comment from Louvier. It says, and you can all get your phones and tweet this with our various hashtags that we have for today. Louvier Kindle says, we can destroy our future by our social media activities. It's a very interesting comment. Let's have the next one. Mental health maintenance is something needed in South Sudan, and this can be done by creating more spaces where youths can be engaged in product activities in order to gain knowledge. This is from Matthew Lubari, who spoke earlier on. If there's no question again online, then I'm going to turn to give the microphones back to the participants for the panelists for their final word. I really loved the example from Baye of using LinkedIn where she feels a little safer. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter have algorithms that tend to favor content that triggers emotions, sadly. Yeah, that's a reality. Your challenge is to turn this around and make sure that that does not happen. Post about how to do this. Take action, don't be silent. This is a call for all of us on this Peace Jam Day today. Take action, post about how to create a digital space, use our hashtags for today, and let's keep the conversation going. How do we overcome fear of using social media? I'm going to give that question to Meron and Baye, because these two people work with women and young girls and young people in general. And this fear sometimes is coming from those groups I've mentioned. Meron and then Baye, how do we overcome fear on social media? It's a question we have online.
Yes. So in regards to overcoming fear, I would say it depends for everyone, for each and everyone. It depends on what type of traumas that they had in the past, and what type of works that they do, and what type of sectors that they work on. It depends a lot of features regarding that. But I would say, like the initial thing that I was mentioning, for someone to really have the confidence, it also needs a safer space for them. So in order for them, like, we also need to be more in part of their community to support them, and to make sure that they're also supported to have an equal voice, to really have that engagement going. So if we have a positive space, then we can also have the ability to empower others to really speak up for themselves.
Thank you very much. Over to you, Frida.
You can seek for help, seek for support from organizations like defyhatenow, and you continue putting positive content online. Before you know it, people start following your positive vibes and you lose that fight.
I love the word positive vibes. I wish it was that simple. All right, one last question. Added to the digital frameworks in Cameroon you mentioned, what opportunities do you see, especially geared towards ensuring safer spaces for young women and the elderly, whom we often seem to ignore in these conversations? I think we've had a bit of that answer, but maybe one of you still has something to add to it. Added to the digital frameworks you mentioned, what opportunities do you see, especially geared towards ensuring safer spaces for youth, women, and the elderly, whom we often seem to ignore in these conversations? I'll leave that open to any of you to react. If no one is reacting, it means that we agree that we have said everything we had to say on that subject. Let's come back to our discussion then and quickly round it up, because we want this Peace Jam today to go on the record for the one that respected time the most, in 5 minutes time, and I'm sure that we're going to keep that. Your final words. Where do we go from here? I'm just going to do a round. Where do we go from here? Where lies the potentials? What can we do better from here moving on to make sure that our online spaces, or online safe spaces, are safe spaces, that they are guaranteed digital security and everything? I tend to be very biased to see Robert a lot because we missed him throughout most of the discussion, but I would avoid that bias and give the microphone to Charlotte.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so way forward. Let's keep doing the work we're doing. We're doing amazing work on ground. Also, let's keep doing what we're doing. We're doing a work on, but keep enforcing to the application. So yeah, programs get done, but sustainability comes from in implementing and seeing the change come to pass, but also sustainable change. So let's collaborate, let's continue working together, let's get this information all over Africa, all over the world, so that social media is not just something that we need to think about when war happens, but we can also continue to insist on even when there's peace, so that sustainability continues.
Thank you very much. Now, Robert.
Yes, creating safer online spaces, I think, is a collective responsibility that involves everyone, community, technology providers, law enforcement, and everyone. So it is important that we're doing, encourage, bring those ones that are left behind on board, and achieve our goal together of creating the safer online spaces, because we all agree that they have so much advantages that, for example, like what we're doing right now. So it is everyone's responsibility to do their part to achieve that goal. That's all I can say. Yes.
Thank you very much. And now over to you, Baye, and then we end with Meron.
Thank you. Collectively, we all can contribute significantly in promoting safe digital spaces, online and offline. It's something that has to do with youth, community leaders, women groups, denomination. The church should be involved. Community leaders should be involved. Peer educators, peace ambassadors. We all collectively, we can create safe digital spaces for our children. Build resilient individuals and communities who will not be afraid to use social media because of stigmatization or hate speech or xenophobia. So it is very important for everybody, online and offline, to come on board. Defy Hate, thank you for all what you've been doing. We hope you continue to create more peace ambassadors at community levels, online and offline. Thank you.
I am especially very grateful to you, Baye Frida, because you just stepped into the discussion when we had difficulties, and your insights, your comments, your input has been very, very inspirational. Thank you very much, and we've truly been blessed to have you today. Meron, your final words. Where are the potentials? Where do we go from here?
Yes, as final words, as also I mentioned earlier, it really depends on the individual person at first, and then also for the community. But as an overall, we need to stay alert. We need to educate ourselves. We need to keep awareness. We need to make sure about the privacy settings and permissions that we utilize on each and every social media platforms that we're using. Be very literate on media. The smallest things definitely matter. And also, last but not least, we need to be cautious and also report and block any individuals who engage in cyberbullying or harassment if we're not able to at least stop them from that. So we just need to follow quick community guidelines that we have, and keep ourselves and also our community safe.
Thank you very much, Meron. If you would see my my space or my account, you would see that I have the clapping hands, which is a sign of appreciation to all of you who have been on this panel today, for your wonderful input and for everything you have had that has driven the discussion. And I wish that everyone else who is online would have this appreciation emojis to show that we are truly appreciative of what you have been doing in this discussion today. We will be saying goodbye in a few minutes, but in a special way, let me thank all the panelists again, Charlotte, Robert, Baye, and Meron. And we're going to quickly go over again to Akush to play a recording she did for us of the poem she had today.
Hello.
Who is
Balbin.
there?
Balbin. I came
oh, yes,
back.
Balbin, we lost you, that's why.
I came back.
Please, yes, turn on your video so that we can pin you.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. One last word. Where do we go from here? What where are the potentials? What do we do from now onward?
From here, I think we have to continue working together. And the first thing I can say is to let this work that have already been done be known. Because if not that I'm invited here, I didn't know that Defy Hate was in Cameroon and they was working in peace building. So let this work that have been done be vulgarized, and I think I will be one of the person that will go and tell people that you have saved this work done by Defy Hate, and thank for everything and good luck for the work ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Balbin. I'm truly grateful that you called out when I was forgetting you. This is what we should do in the face of spaces that may often forget or ignore our voices. If you think that you're being forgotten or ignored, please call out. Thank you very much, Balbin. That was the lawyer in you. Now,
welcome.
if the technical teams gives me an indication, then we will be switching on the poem from Akush in Ethiopia.
The title of the poem is The Mirror and I. You take a string of my hair and ask to tell me a secret. I pull you in closer and whisper, tell me, young one, tell me of all the secrets that you've kept. You silently edge closer and hold out your hand. I hold my breath in and wait and wait and wait. I was 15 when I had my first phone. Before then, the only faces that I knew were the ones that I saw every day, and my world was as small as it could be. I was 17 when I first learned of social media. It was only Facebook and Telegram back then, and all I focused on was how my photos looked and if my friends liked them and if my crush liked me, and the only form of self-expression that I knew was changing my hairstyles and quoting lyrics from songs that I barely understood. Public and private were only a concept. As my father sat me down and explained of all the wrongs I have yet to encounter, the innocent eyes I had for the world was crumbling and everything that I ever knew was unbecoming. What was wrong with the photo I took? Was it my button nose? Was it my crooked teeth? Why was I afraid to fight back? Why was I quick to delete the first thing that I released into the wild when it was just one man voice? Voices screamed. The creativity of the hate was building. I was felt alone in this battle. I was silenced. I stared into mirrors. I asked my mother. I covered my hands when I shared a laughter. A single word was destroying what took years to build. I wasn't going to let this stop me. Was I? Out about all the wrong that I saw. I was 17 when I first lost my innocence. My eyes and ears were exposed to the world louder than anything that I ever knew. I was sucked, I was trans, I was falling. I wanted to know it all and speak out about all the wrong that I saw. Was it ever enough? You're loud. Stop speaking out of turn. You're ugly. Was it the way this my smile was crooked or my nose was small? Was it the way that I spoke or didn't speak at all? Did I deserve any of it? Did I have to believe any of it at all? Who is this man to tell me that I am ugly when I had nothing ugly at all? You're stupid. Was it something that I said? Was it something that I wrote? Was it the awkwardness of my hands when I posed? Or was it the fact that you chose to see what's between my legs rather than what's above my nose? I was not born deaf, but I wish I could unhear things. I was not born blind, but I wish I could unsee this. I was not born a man, but I wish I was today. I could repeat more words that were said to me. I could repeat more phrases that were thrown at me. Sticks and stones, sticks and stones. I had better shield for the stones you've thrown than to face the worst that I have known in my own existence, in my own dissertation. I was more than everything. I knew I was more than what they were saying. Before there was silence, there was an ambush of noise. I heard more than your words. I saw your heart stone. I cannot deny the truth. I cannot deny the hate. You are nothing more than a bird. You are nothing more than a daughter, a son, a man, a woman. You are nothing more than human. You were never the words that were spoken to you. That were spoken to you. You are never the slurs that were shoved at you. You are a flower that was plucked too soon. You are a garden that filled up the whole room. I see the fresh cut that graces your skin. I see the bruises. I see the stain. I see the tears. I see what's behind. I see all that you carry. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you, and I stand here in all the words that were said to you, and I speak with all the words that were never given to you. I see all the grace, the beauty, the brilliance. I see your crooked eyes and the beautiful smile and all the brain that it hides. I see your stolen home and your stolen voice. I stand here from all the ashes and the tears that you were born from. I see all the battles that you have yet to face. I see all the scars you have yet to embrace. I see you, I see you, I feel you, and now I am not ashamed to say that I am you and you are me. And I stand with you, and I stand by you, and I stand for you. I deny all the hate that was given to you. I give you all the love that was hidden from you. Stay strong, though. This war isn't over. We have barely begun. We have barely scratched the surface. Strengthen your heart, dear. The stronger you get, the louder they You were never the slurs that were shoved at you. You were a flower that was plucked too soon. You were a garden that filled up the whole room. I see the fresh cut that graces your skin. I see the bruises. I see the stain. I see the tears. I see what's behind. I see all that you carry. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you, and I stand here in all the words that were said to you, and I speak with all the words that were never given to you. I see all the grace, the beauty, the brilliance. I see your crooked eyes and the beautiful smile and all the brain that it hides. I see your stolen home and your stolen voice. I stand here from all the ashes and the tears that you were born from. I see all the battles that you have yet to face. I see all the scars you have yet to embrace. I see you, I see you, I feel you, and now I am not ashamed to say that I am you and you are me. And I stand with you, and I stand by you, and I stand for you. I deny all the hate that was given to you. I give you all the love that was hidden from you. Stay strong, though. This war isn't over. We have barely begun. We have barely scratched the surface. Strengthen your heart, dear. The stronger you get, the louder they become. Sharpen your pencil. Wipe your sweaty hands, clean your camera lens, and pose for me one more time. Let us show the world that we have barely begun.
Thunderous applause going on here in the defyhatenow production studio, where we are anchoring the Peace Jam 2023 live from Berlin. That was a thunderous performance from Akush Akile. She could not join in person, but I think that we are taking the piercing words from her as the last thing we're bringing out of the Peace Jam this year. A time to give a quick vote of thanks to our sponsors and funders. We're thinking about the German Federal Foreign Ministry. We're thinking about the European Union. We're thinking about the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development of Germany. In a special way, we want to think about or give thanks to our partners, the Youth Sounding Board in Ethiopia, AskNet in South Sudan and Uganda, Civic Watch, defyhatenow Cameroon, and a singular thanks to all the panelists who have joined us today, from Frida to Meron, to Charlotte, to Robert, to Balbin. We are indeed grateful to all of you. Spoken word artists have played a really special role in the Peace Jam right from its inception. Whether we're talking about Mark Alunga or we're talking about Ondwal African, right, to Sandra, to Penboy, and today we also had Akush. They really bring the energy into our Peace Jam. And I wish the camera could rotate for you to see the mountain of men and women standing behind me here in the studio before you're able to watch, join, and enjoy this event. There's Susan sitting directly opposite me. There is Candy, and there is the supervisor of production, Dan. I really call him supervisor of production because he took the whole thing so professional today. You must have seen that I look more handsome than I usually do. He's putting so much light effect on my face. He's putting a very good camera so that my voice sounds as cool as it is. And this is just amazing, all these different things that you bring to make the Peace Jam a success every year. As I take my leave now from the studio, I invite you all to do one last tweet again with our tweets with our tags for today, with our hashtags. Hashtag all for all, hashtag no to hate, hashtag defyhatenow, hashtag save online spaces. And always remember to tag our social media handles, and let's form one big community always on Twitter, on the different social media spaces. And to bring the thing to an end, I'm going to bring the song again, this time correcting my mistake. The song is done by Heat Waves, an a cappella music group in Cameroon, an all-male a cappella music group, which most of us have known all our lives. One last play of the song, and that will be the celebration and an end to Peace Jam 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivan.
Oh, all of you can at least turn on your cameras and we make one selfie for today.
Hate, oh hate, do fa win muna. Hate.
Family photo. No. So 33 people online. Can you please put on your pictures, your camera, so that we can make a photo?
Hate speech everywhere on social media and school media. Misinformation, disinformation, racism, all these things are forms of hate. Misinformation, disinformation, racism, all these things are forms of hate. Hate speech everywhere. All these things are forms of hate.
We come for
Narambani, we come from online. Narambani is mine. We come from speech, we come from social media and school of misinformation, disinformation, all these things are forms of hate. Misinformation, disinformation, all these things are forms of hate speech. Everybody can use political speeches. Families, the world, leader, volunteer, experiment, defyhatenow, reach out to all these things are forms of hate. Spread violence on women, violent homes, tribal wars. All these things are forms of defyhatenow.
spread the news. Defyhatenow, reach out to the world, be a volunteer, spread the news. Defyhatenow, 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 defyhatenow. Let's join hands, defyhatenow, defyhatenow, defyhatenow. Let's join hands, defyhatenow. Defyhatenow, defyhatenow, let's join hands, defyhatenow, 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 let's join hands, defyhatenow, 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 let's join hands, defyhatenow.
Okay, we have had challenges taking that picture. Please turn your cameras on for the last time, and I promise you it's the last time you will hear my voice for today. Oh, Shay Leslie, nice to see you. Sofinga Sad, so beautiful to have you joining in. Ghislaine Ayina, thank you for joining. Donald Asena and Dongo. Ruth Reiser Esson, Lovia Kindo, Saka Bernard, doctor, expert on social media and governance questions. Guy Atesh, Ruth Reiser, thank you all of you. Bida from South Sudan, Galam Moses Azaria, Handa Honorin from Bamenda. Nice to have you joining. Christian Fritz. Whoa, top. Christian Fritz. Ekembe Mirabel, Peace Watch NGO. Thank you so much for joining. It's a whole classroom, or it's a whole boardroom of peace experts who joined from Peace Watch. We're very grateful for that. Carol Lewe. Njoteka Teresa Suimola, thank you for joining. Yara, thank you for joining from Neukölln. Susanna Bellinghausen, thank you for joining from opposite me. Valentine, our own colleague in the office, thanks for joining. Njoki Karuki, thank you for joining. From Kenya, Lor Ngandle, thank you for joining. I think I've mentioned everyone still left, and I think we have the picture, right? Yes. So thank you, and go have a last drink. Happy Peace Jam Day. Kinang Derek, ciao.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let me leave.